Hey everyone, we're going to go out in a minute and we're going to be testing out this Olight Odin. Okay, it is a 1250 lume light, and I'm going to be comparing it to this Streamlight here. Get the cap off. The Streamlight, which is a 1000 lume light. So the Streamlight I've already had for I think at least 4 or 5 years. I've been able to get hits out to 200 yards with this against a sharply contrasted target. Okay, so this is 1000 looms. This one's 1250. This one is a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. This one has a rechargeable battery. Right, there's this little magnet thing that you put on the back here, and it recharges the battery. It comes with the charger. So that's potentially a really good money saver, right? If you have a rechargeable battery on this. On this one over here, it's got those batteries. Hold on, I forgot what the other. Let me go get them. 1 second. So the Streamlight takes these batteries here, right? So I think this pack was somewhere in the area of about $20. So yeah, it takes these batteries, and they can get expensive. I mean, typically these lights, they only last for about maybe 2 hours max, and usually after 30 minutes, they immediately start getting weak. Okay, and this one doesn't have like new batteries, so I've been using this. So the Olight does have the advantage here because I charged it like 3 days ago. I have flicked it on and off a couple of times, testing it, in the dark, but I have not been using it. There has not been a prolonged use. Now, both of these are cold stored. Okay, so the area that I stored them in, there's no heat. Okay, I mean, if the batteries lose any power because of the cold that we've had, which is like 10 degrees, I mean, it's going to be reflected in the testing. Okay, it is what it is. On the Streamlight here, right? I've made this cap out of blue tape. One of the reasons is because both of these have these pressure pads over here. Right, so that's the Streamlight. So what happens a lot of times, like this is where you're going to grab this, right? So as soon as you grab this, especially if you're pulling it out of the safe, you're almost immediately gonna activate this, okay? And that can be very blinding, disorienting. You'll see spots. So that cap basically keeps me from blinding myself. Even if you point it away from your face, you're still going to blind yourself, okay? And the other thing is with the blue cap on, I can also like shine the light at my feet, like if I'm going upstairs or if I'm walking through the woods and I need to see, or if I drop something. Okay, so this is really useful to make a cap like this out of blue tape. I did a video detailing on how I did that. Okay, and also if you accidentally leave the light on, like let's say I hit this button over here, which permanently leaves the light on, right? You'll see it, right? So there's a bunch of, I have tried using caps, like rubber caps that you can't see through, and I've accidentally activated the light and I completely ran it out and I had a light that didn't work. So if you use the rubber caps, what you can do is you can like put a small hole up in there. So it's small enough so it won't blind you, but enough so that you can see it, okay? So, obviously with this one, I have not done that yet, I mean, that's something that I very much recommend, putting caps on the lights, even putting caps on the muzzles, right? Because, a lot of times when you're walking through the woods, I mean, a lot of times your muzzle will hit the ground, okay, either unintentionally or because you fall or whatever, and you don't want stuff going up, So in a serious situation, right? You want to cover your muzzles, even if it's a matter of putting a condom over or something, or blue tape, right? You could put blue tape over it, and you could just shoot through the blue tape. Okay, you want to cover up your muzzle, just like I'm covering up the light. Okay, so let's go outside and try these guys out. And the goal is, if I see what I like with the Olight, I will try and shoot this at 200 yards. If I see that it's horrible and basically I'm going to shine it at 200 yards. I'm going to see what I see, okay? And if it looks good, I'll shoot it, okay? I'll set up a target and I will try. My goal is to try and shoot this at 200 yards, like I have shot the Streamlight in the past. So we got SIG M400 here, Trigicon. I've got the what's this? That's the EOTech G31. I don't love either one of these. Okay, on this one over here is my baby. You guys have seen me do a lot of videos on this 11.5-inch Palmetto. This is the best setup ever. So that's the house on 503G with the ACSS. I had this thing out to 500 yards and the Vortex 6X magnifier. And like I said, I've made 500-yard shots using that combo right there. So this setup is like the bomb over here. Okay. So anyway, let's get outside. Hello everyone. So I am testing out the Olight Odin. Okay, so it is max looms 1250 throw 240 meters, which translates over to something like, I don't know, like maybe 260-ish yards, 260 yards or so. So you can see it on the rifle over here, and I'm comparing it to the Streamlight. Okay. Okay, so this is the Olight. I am running the light on the camera right now. It's not a very powerful one. So basically, 30 yards. I'm sorry, no, that's about 15 yards right there. 15 yards. Right there is about 30 yards. Right, so I can clearly see out to 30 yards. When I get to 50 yards, I can kind of see, but if somebody wants to kind of remain hidden, I'm not going to see them. I can barely make out my target at 65 yards, and at 75 yards, I can barely make out the target. Let me give you guys again. So real quick, that's at 10 yards right there, and 30 yards. This is like the most likely. Like I wouldn't want to go any further than this distance. Like this is essentially a light for working inside your house and working around your house. It's not a light that it's not an ideal light for like being in the woods where the trees create shadows and stuff like that. Okay, so, oh, by the way, every time I activate the light, I got a pressure pad here. It does like a weird vibration. Let me see if you guys can hear it. I don't know if you guys are hearing that. So every time I activate the light, there is a very weird vibration, but it's there. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It can be distracting if you're trying to work like in the dark and you're trying to minimize noise. So again, 30 yards. I'm sorry, 10 yards and 30 yards back there. Working with the Streamlight now. Okay, boom, that's 30 yards, much brighter. I keep saying 30, that's 10 yards, much brighter. That is 30 yards. Clearly see at 50 yards, 65 yards, 75 yards. So, like I feel really comfortable like engaging out to 65 yards, 75 yards. Like basically, if somebody doesn't want to be seen, you're not going to see them at 65 yards. They can stay hidden. I can see my target at 100 yards. Let me see. Can I see my target at 140 yards or 150 yards? No. I cannot see the target at 150 yards. Now it's got red and white paint, which is really faded. Okay, the paint on the 100-yard target is brighter. It's newer. So yeah, the 100 yards, you know, with like sharply contrasting paint. Yeah, I can see it at 100 yards. I have actually shot this stream. I've shot I did a video. It's like 5 years ago. Where I actually made hits at 200 yards in the dark. Now that was a white target, right, with a bullseye in the center. I did manage to get hits at 200 yards. Okay, if you look at the package, they'll tell you it's good to 300 yards. That's really maybe in an open field, not in the woods. Okay, but I have been able to make hits with the Streamlight to 200 yards. With the Olight, it was actually my intention tonight to try and get hits to 200 yards, but I can already see, because I could barely see my target at 100 yards with the Olight. So I'm not going to even bother. Okay, so again, 30 yards, 10 yards, 30 yards. 30 yards like is ideal. For 50 yards, yeah, it starts getting really hard at 50 yards. Okay, so if I hold it down, it stays on and it comes off when my thumb comes off it. Okay, I figured it out. Should have read the instruction. So if you put your thumb on it, hold it down. As soon as you take the thumb off of it, but if you just press it and immediately take your thumb off, like I just did, it's going to stay on. Okay. All right. So that's how that works. So if you want it on, you got to keep your thumb on it and then release it if you want it to immediately go off. But if you want it to stay on, you just press it, take your thumb off immediately, and then you got to hit it again. Okay, I understand how that works. With the Streamlight, I actually have like two different spots on the pressure pad here. This section back here, that's just for putting it on and off for a second. This button up here, that keeps it on. Okay, so if I hit that forward button, okay, that keeps it on. Okay, if I hit the other button, right, like on the pressure pad, I can flick it on and off. I kind of like that better. It's just less confusing for me. I mean the Olight is cheaper. It's nice if you're doing like for what I'm doing here, shooting 10 to 30 yards, where I don't have to keep, I can just recharge the battery. So it's a really good training light because most of the time at night shooting you're gonna be working from 30 to 50 yards max. So it is a good training light, but for real combat, I would want to have the Streamlight just because it has a further, more powerful throw. Even though it says less, it only says 1,000 looms, right? So even though that says 1,000 looms, and the Olight says 1,250. The Streamlight is a much more powerful light. Now, for about $10 to $20 more, okay, you can get the Olight with 2,000 looms. I haven't tested it out. So the deal here is, as you go up in power, right, it tends to run out the battery faster. Okay, so that's one of the things to be aware of. So this one over here, basically somebody gave it to me, so I'm not, basically this is what I got. So I got 1,250. That's what I'm working with. Okay, but I would probably have I would have chosen the 2,000 lume light for an extra whatever $10 or $20. I think that's going to be a better choice for most people. So yeah, it's definitely limited compared to the Streamlight. Okay? So I was planning to try and shoot this Olight. I was planning to set up a target at 200 yards and try to do some night shooting. I'm not going to bother. I mean, I can see that it's weaker. I can see that. I can barely see my target at 100 yards. I'm not going to hit 200 yards. Let me turn off the light on the camera. Okay, so I just turned off the light on the camera, so now you're going to see just the light from this. So this is 10 yards, 30 yards. Okay. Streamlight, way more powerful. That's 10 yards. That's 30 yards over there. Streamlight is a much better light. So there it is, guys. Let me turn on the camera for a second. Oh, the other thing worth mentioning. Okay. First of all, I just had a negligent light discharge. I don't know if you guys saw that, but when I grabbed the rifle like this, I accidentally hit that. So that's bad for two reasons. Number one, even if you have this pointed away from your face, it can be very blinding. You will see spots, and it'll give away your position. So what I recommend is making a cover, okay, or getting a cover. So I made one out of blue tape. The benefit of the blue tape is that if I accidentally press on it, I can see that I've pressed on it. And what that also allows me to do is I can also shine this at my feet. So this is really good. So if I drop something or if I'm going upstairs or something, I can use the blue light that I made here. I covered this in another video to actually, you know, to see. Let me turn off the light on the camera for a second. So right there you go. There's the blue light. Right. So I just flip this off. Right now I have my light. Okay. Put it back on. Right. So now it's covered. I can't accidentally, you know, flash myself. Right. And blind myself. And also I have the benefit of, you know, I can see what's going on at my feet. Right. From out here. You know, I can see. I can look at my feet. See what's going on. So. Yeah, turn that camera light back on. So there's no question, the Streamlight is like way more powerful than the Olight. And again, I know that you know, Streamlight being 1,000 looms, Olight being 1,250, and I know you can get the Olight in 2,000. Maybe it's available in even more. If I get, I'm not planning to go out and buy one. Like I said, somebody gave me this one to test out. It didn't come from the company, so I mean, most of the time when I get stuff to test out, it's a lot of times it's just somebody saying, you know, a viewer or a customer of mine. They'll leave something with me, or they'll give it to me as a thank you, right? You know, so they'll give me something, and I'll test it out. So that's kind of how I got this Olight. So. They're my thoughts on that, and like I said, I was gonna try and shoot this at 200 yards, like I did with the Streamlight, right? And I video goes back a few years. I got, you know, I was able to get good hits at 200 yards on a sharply contrasting target, right? It was a white target that I, you know, with a blue bullseye that I could see. I'm not even gonna bother with the Olight because, like I said, I could barely see at 100 yards. So, drop some comments. Talk to y'all soon.